Hi, in this video I used my new Jaxon watercolor crayons for the first time. If you are new to this channel, hi, my name is Ina. If not, welcome back. I recently bought these 18 Jaxon watercolor crayons, which I showed in my first haul. I also have some old water-soluble crayons for kids that I will combine with the Jaxons. In this video, I will show you how I color 3 different backgrounds in these 3 books. Unfortunately, the first video recording was not saved, so I will tell you what I did. I am creating the first background in Creatopia by Wax. For this page with the oil, I wanted to create a kind of vignette from yellow in the center, transitioning to beige and then to reddish brown on the outside. I didn't want it to be round, but rather a bit jagged, fitting the comic-like motif. It should resemble a comic explosion. In the center, I used this yellow. Then yellow-orange, ochre, pinkish red, and reddish brown. I have already started blending the crayons with water around the oil, and I will continue with that now. In the center, I placed a strip of washi tape, partly to prevent water from running into the binding and partly to ensure that the distance from the wing to the edge is approximately the same width on both sides. I work in circular motions from light to dark. If I want to blend colors from a darker area into a lighter one, I clean my water tank brush beforehand to avoid smearing the darker color into the lighter one. To blend the colors, I will now clean the brush and activate the lighter yellow again, blending it into the yellow-orange. I initially applied the colors lightly to see how pigmented they really are in application, and I can always darken them in a second layer. Here I noticed that I pressed a bit harder with the yellow and yellow-orange than with the ochre. So I will go over the ochre again to have more pigments on the paper. The same goes for the pink-red. The Jaxon watercolor crayons can be used both dry and wet, and according to the manufacturer's specifications, they are light fast, which is not so important in a coloring book. They are available for purchase individually as well as in sets of 12, 24 or 36. Additionally, the colors can be mixed. They cost about half of the well-known and popular Neocolor 2 by Caran d'Ache, depending on where you buy them. Now I take the color directly from the crayon and color the small areas between the doodles. Maybe a masking fluid would be helpful at this point, but I don't have one. I will let you know at the end of the video if I feel like I need it. To make the background look less blotchy and more opaque, I take more color directly from the crayon and apply a second layer. After the page was completely dry, it had already warped less, but I pressed it again overnight under a stack of books. And this is the result. Now I remove the washi tape. Okay, better for the washi tape to tear than the page. Here is my first finished background, and for the first time I quite like the result. That was a page from Creatopia by Wax. Now let's move on to the second book, Vintage Flowers, The Language of Flowers. In this book I chose the page with the lily of the valley. First I think about what exactly I want to do, because I would like a frame around the picture. Preferable a fancy one. However, for the beginning I decided on a relatively simple frame with small embellishments in the corners. I then drew this frame with a pencil. At this point it would have been very practical if I had a very narrow washi tape. But I didn't, so I just tried not to paint over the lines, which I brightened up with an eraser at the end. This background was meant to be pink and violet, for which I used the colors Rose Pink, Crimson Lake, Grey Rose, White and Violet. I randomly distributed the colors across the page, without creating a gradient or specific shapes. Then I blended the crayons again with water and finally touched up some transitions with paint that I took directly from the crayon. Once the page was completely dry, I used a silver metallic watercolor for the frame. Here you can see the second finished background in vintage flowers. Again, I could have made the colors a bit more vibrant with a second layer, but I really liked how light the background turned out. Since the lily of the valley will only be green and white, I think a too dominant background would have distracted from the actual motif. For the third background, I am working on Seasons by Hannah Carlson. I want the light to come from the top right. Accordingly, I will make that area light blue. Then I will use sky blue and a mixture of cadmium green and cobalt green between the flowers. To protect the right side, I will stick a strip of washi tape at the binding. Here too, I blend the crayons again with circular motions, and for the transitions I sometimes use a dabbing motion. Then I tried to darken the lower area a bit with a second layer. However, I noticed that it didn't work so well, and I decided to leave the page as it was. Finally, I removed the washi tape. After a few days of looking at the page again and again, I wanted the colors to be a bit more vibrant and even. Once the page was completely dry, applying a second layer was much easier, more even and more opaque. I only bought a small selection of Jaxons to try them out. And on the other hand, I didn't want to buy the colors that I already had in the children's version. My conclusion after these 3 backgrounds is as follows. I am very satisfied with the quality and pigmentation. And when I look at the total of 36 colors, I don't feel like I need one more of them. However, there are 86 different colors of Neocolor 2s. And I think I might get a few more colors in the future that are not available in the Jaxon range, such as jade, turquoise green or lime green. Now, regarding the question of whether I think I need a masking fluid. For these pages I didn't need it, and even if I had it, I wouldn't have used it, even though I painted slightly over the lines in some places. Let's see how it goes in the future when I color pages with more small details. I might reconsider it then. Here you can see the finished third background. I will show the completed pages in the next completed pages video. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Bye!